gazebo that I created for the Winter Wonderland Hop. I will leave a link to that video so you can get a full presentation of the gazebo. So stay tuned for the tutorial. When you are making the base of the gazebo, you will need to cut an extra piece to form it, and it is the 10.2 inch octagon, I believe, and you will have these 4 pieces that will hold your 2 octagons together. And I did go ahead and put on the decorative paper just to save some time. And the first thing we're going to do is glue the pieces, the side pieces here, to form one big long strip. And I went ahead and inked the edges of my decorative paper, and I burnished along the score lines. So, and I'm using my art glitter glue. So I'm just putting this on and going right up to that score line, and make sure that you have these score lines lined up as well, the ones running along the sides. I'm just going to put these 4 pieces together. We will join the 2 ends together. We have our side pieces for our base, and now we're going to attach one of the 10.2 inch pieces to the hinges. And I always like to start, let's just say this is a clock, I like to do 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. It just seems when I do it that way that it lines up really well for a nice crisp edge. So I'm just put some glue on the tab. I'm taking this side of my octagon and lining it up along the score line and making sure that the corners line up as well. So I want the corner to line up with the corner of my hinge. So I'm just going to turn it like this to make sure I get it spaced even along the edge. So that looks good. And so we have 12 o'clock. Let's do 6 o'clock. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm just making sure I'm lined up against the score line and that my corners are matching up, or the points. Here, I'll show you. I want that corner to meet with that edge. Just go like this. I am going to turn it over and just run my finger along. And now we will do the 3 o'clock. Once you get the first 2 tabs, it really helps hold it together a little bit. That's why you want to take your time and match your edges up really well. Now we will do 9 o'clock. We can just turn it over, and I'll flip the edge up, or flip, I'm just flipping the tabs that aren't attached. I'll just flip those up and put glue on them, and then just fold it down like so. Because now, since every other one is glued down, we can just pop it up and put our glue on the tab. And I'm going to go around and do the other tabs that are not connected. We have all of those glued down. I'm just going to run my bone folder to make sure all the glue is adhered. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. And I want to glue our decorative piece on, and I have inked my edges. And for this, I'm going to use my fabric tack glue in the middle, and I'm going to use my art glitter glue around the edge. If I use the fabric tack, since that is such a big flat surface, it seems like I have a little bit of wiggle room. And to center it. And it is the 10-inch octagon. And that looks good. So now, since I have not put the bottom on, I can make sure it adheres. we will put the bottom on the same way we did the top. Just doing this the same way I did the top. And 6 o'clock. And I'm going to go ahead and put glue on all of my tabs. Push this over just a little bit to make sure everything lines up. And I'm just going to push down on the 3 o'clock part. And let's go over here and put glue on all of these tabs. Push the middle one down. Make sure it's lined up. Go. And now I can just go around and rub my fingers. That's the base. And I love the look of it. The paper is so pretty. Next thing I want to do is glue our side panels for the gazebo. We'll have one that is the doorway, and you will have 7 that are the side panels. And I have already glued my vellum on the back and the snowflakes, and I used the white glitter paper and then put some rhinestones on the snowflakes. And I have burnished all of my score marks. So what we will do is I'll show you the first one, and the first thing I want to do is glue this tab to the side panel, and we just want to make sure it's lined up and up against the score mark running down the side. And you want to line up the score lines here at the top to make sure it's the same all the way around. So when you're putting it together, that just helps make sure everything is in alignment. And this score lines down here along the bottom, that they are lined up as well. I will turn it over, and then that will fold like so. And I'm just going to do this to all of the other panels. Now that we have all of our side pieces together, I'm going to glue this last tab to this side. I'm going to line this up along the score lines as I've been doing. So this is the start of the gazebo. And now what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to put just a little bit of glue along that tab and fold this. I'm going to fold it down just a little bit to make those line up, and I'm going to hold it till it dries so we have a nice secure fit. Okay, and now I'm going to put some glue on the top tab, and we'll fold this top piece in. I'll hold it till the glue dries. That's the biggest thing I have found out when making 3D projects, is when you have these little tabs and folds, make sure to give it time to dry so it will hold when you go to work on the next piece. So you can see we are bending it out and making a mountain if you look at it this way. It's like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and do the same thing to all of these tabs. Glue the, I'll show you one more time. Fold the bottom like so and give it a second to dry. And we're folding the top pieces back and gluing that. I'm just going to go around and do the same thing to the rest of the pieces. Forgot I had these little clamps, and that worked out great, putting those on to hold the top, and I can move on to the next. So the next thing we want to do is get our pieces, the 9.2 inch wide. This is the bottom of the gazebo, and then this 8.8 inch is the liner that will go on the inside to cover up our tabs. We're going to do the same thing as we did with the base. We're going to do 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. As I've said, several times in the video, for me, that just seems to work the best at keeping all of my angles nice and sharp. Since it is an octagon, I just want them to look all even. And just lining this up along the score line on the tab and making sure this point here meets this seam on the gazebo. Go around here and do, so this will be our 6 o'clock since I turned it. It's a little bit easier since this is so tall. I want to go ahead and do 3 o'clock. We did the top first. It helps line up the bottom by the tabs. Okay, so we'll do this side now. I'm sorry, I did turn it, so this is like the 9 o'clock side. Now we can go inside, and I'm just going to glue down the flaps that are not glued down. Or actually, I'm going to go like this and just raise this up and reach in. I'm just going to reach in here and put glue on the tabs. We'll take the 8.8 layer piece that goes inside here, and I'm going to put the fabric tack on it since it does have a little bit of wiggle room, and put the liner on the inside. And put this in like so. I did change the design a little bit on the gazebo roof. I chose to make a decorative piece on the bottom and these two middle pieces just because I did not have a heavy decorative paper. I wanted to use my 110-pound cardstock so it would be good and sturdy, because the lid, you will be able to take it on and off. And then I altered the icicle edge and made this a solid piece just to make the lid sturdier. And if you would like a tutorial on how I altered the foul in Silhouette Design Space, just put it in the comment section. So I did alter these just a little bit, but you do not have to. So we will get started. These will go on last. I'll put those to the side. And so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to glue this really long seam here. So I'm just going to put my glue. And it's going to be basically the same as the other things. When you're putting these together, you just want to make sure, like you can see the score line where I folded this tab back. You want to put this piece right up against it and make sure these seams kind of are coming down to a V. This edge is running along that score line, and you can see the bottom meets really nicely. It's not a difficult process, but you just want to take your time and make sure you are lining everything up correctly so it fits together nicely. And I have burnished my score lines really well so I can manipulate when I'm gluing my little tabs together. So we'll glue the first one, and it's going to be straight. I'm just going to hold it, and then this one bends back just ever so slightly, and I'm lining this score line at the top, the score line in the middle, and this score line here at the bottom of this little section. That will give us a nice top on the roof. And we'll put some glue on this long tab, the top tab, and we're just going to fold it in. And you can see I just got to run this along the score mark. And I'm making sure this edge doesn't come out past the first piece. Okay, so that's what our roof's going to look like, and I just love this paper. I think it is so pretty. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere the rest of the panels the same way as I did this one. Let's just go ahead and I'll do one more. So I'm lining up this piece along this score line, and we want to make sure our bottom of the roof panel is lined up. We want to have this score line and that score line lining up as well. I'm just going to squeeze these together really well and then fold this one down, and I'm going to put some glue on these two tabs like so. And the first one is straight. So just going to make sure that it lines up and that this score line lines up with that one. And this will bend back just ever so slightly and then hold this tab that's underneath like so, and then glue on the top tab. Just line it up like so. Okay, and so now I have 5 more panels, and I'm just going to go around and do it the same way. We're just going to do the same thing and join our pieces all together to form the roof. Let's see here, that's where it'll line up. Oops, losing my rhinestones. And just when I'm kind of bending it so the seam lines up really well. That looks good. So I'm just going to hold it there. And I'm going to go underneath and put glue on the next little tab. And then we can pop this up like so. I'm just lining the seams up and holding my fingers where that tab is. Make sure it's straight. There we go. That looks good. And go back under, and I'm going to do the next tab and then pop it out. Just push it ever so slightly till we can get it lined up to join the roof. Now hold that till it grabs. Okay, that looks good. And now I'm going to go back in, and I lost where my seam was now. There it is. And take this last tab, the top tab, and put glue on it. And we will just line it up like so. So I've got my octagon for the top, and I've already put the decorative paper on, and it is just going to sit right here on the very top, just doing a dry fit, and that looks good. I'm just going to put glue on this, and then I'll put a little bit on the tabs here. And that looks good like so. And just kind of push it, manipulating it so it lines up. And I'm just, when I was holding the top piece in, I'm pushing these just ever so slightly to get them where they're even and there's no gaps. So now we have the roof together, And we need to glue these pieces with the icicles underneath, like along the edge. So I'm just going to put glue on this. And I'm just going to line that up along the edge in between that side there. And this will cover up the tabs on the inside as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and put all of the other pieces on the inside like so. I'm going to glue the gazebo to the base piece. And I'm going to use my fabric tack since it'll let me move it around a little bit and make sure it's centered. Now, I'm going to flip this and find the front. Just center this. Take my roller. And that looks pretty good. It's about a ½ inch on all edges. So I'll take my scraper and go ahead and just run it along to adhere it to the base. So this is our finished gazebo. Thanks for watching the tutorial. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments section or reach out to me. I have my email address and information in the description box below. Have a great day and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.